Hi ladies and gentlemen, my name is Josh Weiner, and I'm bringing you the news with Channel 5 Action News Team, bringing you the latest and greatest in tech news. Today's top story is a new threat is emerging in the law enforcement community, and that threat? Cyber attacks. This is a very prevalent threat that is taking down 911 centers and making people run for their lives. For example, hackers are hacking into these type of 911 centers and taking down all of the technology so calls can't go through, people can't let the law enforcement agents know what's going on. This is a very prevalent threat. It's taking down 911 centers and ruining people's lives. For example, hackers hacked into a Henry County 911 center in Tennessee. The hackers installed ransomware on the computers and basically shut down the entire center. People couldn't get calls in, people couldn't get calls out. If there was an emergency happening, nobody would have any idea. Ransomware is a form of malicious software that basically takes over people's computers and will not let the people get back into their computers without paying a fee to the people who hacked them in the first place. What these hackers of the 911 center want is typically around a couple $1,000s worth of Bitcoin. And if they don't get the Bitcoin, they have the power to delete all of the information on these servers. So it is imperative that these 911 centers keep their information and get back up as soon as possible to keep saving lives. So this is why this threat is such an issue. And now to you, Eric.
Thank you, Josh. So today I'll be talking about superconductivity in an alloy with quasi-crystalline structure. Now, for those of you who don't know, superconductivity is a concept that is achieved at shallow temperatures. It's basically where the resistance in an electrical current drops to zero, and this is only achievable when the temperature drops below a certain critical point. Now, this concept has been around for a long time, but has only started to have scientific applications just recently. So the most superconductors consist of a crystalline structure, meaning they have a repeating pattern of cells. And during the 1980s, another option emerged as becoming more prominent than just normal crystalline structures, quasi-crystalline. And these quasi-crystals do have symmetry similar to crystal structures, but they do not consist of periodically repeating patterns. Now, a research team led by the Nagoya University has recently discovered superconductivity capabilities in these quasi-crystals, which is a huge breakthrough. And so the group of researchers experimented with an alloy of aluminum, zinc, and magnesium. The crystalline structure of this alloy has been previously known to be superconductor capable, but is dependent on the different ratios of the three elements. Now, they discovered that the aluminum in particular played a pivotal role in creating this alloy and its properties. When decreasing the amount of aluminum while keeping the amount of magnesium constant, the team found that the critical temperature necessary for superconductivity decreased from 0.8 Kelvin to 0.2 Kelvin. When the amount of aluminum was decreased down to 15%, the alloy became quasi-crystal. On top of that, the critical temperature decreased even further, down to 0.05 Kelvin. And now, that temperature is only 1/20th of a degree above absolute zero, which is what makes achieving superconductivity in quasi-crystals nearly impossible. The concept of superconductivity, however, in conventional crystals has become a lot more comprehensible. At a shallow enough temperature, electrons will break from the natural repulsion and instead attract one another and form pairs called Cooper pairs. Next, they form into what's called a Bose-Einstein condensate, which is essentially a quantum state of matter that has no electrical resistance whatsoever. The forces that attract the electrons to each other is dependent on how they interact with their lattice structure that they are put in. And it's based on the idea that there are specific electronic states that they're only achievable at near absolute zero. This led them back to the concept of Cooper pairs. The alloy closely resembles a conventional weak coupling superconductor. The end.
Welcome back to Channel 5 Action News. This is Dhruv. I'm reporting from the news station, as you can probably see. Today we're talking about Google DeepMind. They're asking for people to give up their medical information, and why. Well, the thing is that in London, a new case study has been founded where artificial intelligence has been scanning over 1 million samples of eyes and trying to figure out how to diagnose sight issues on the spot. Also, they're helping doctors in Europe diagnose kidney diseases just by developing an app. And most doctors are rather happy about this compared to all the old-fashioned NHS systems that they have to use currently. So the medical world doesn't really have a problem with it, but considering our privacy and the HIPAA Act, there might be issues caused later on.
Hi, I'm Zach from Channel 5 News, and I'd like to talk about the Haptic Glove. The Haptic Glove is a VR glove where you can interact with virtual objects. The glove works with 120 tactors, which are little tiny bubbles that get filled and emptied with a fluid. The way that it feels like you're being touched by multiple things is from an illusion called the two-point threshold. On top of that, the glove also works with a force feedback. So when you close your hand and you're touching a virtual object, your hand can only go so far, and the glove will restrict your fingers in a way where it feels like you're holding an object. So in virtual reality, this, where you squeeze it, will feel different from this, where it's hard. Another thing that they are working on right now is temperature, where the fluid that's going in and out of the tactors will be temperatured either cold or hot, giving you a sensation that you're touching something cold or hot. They showed this off by a dragon breathing fire on your hand or breathing ice on your hand, but so far it's not in the glove, but the team is working hard on making that a reality. And their end goal is to have a full body suit with temperature, touch, and even interaction